Little Legends Podcast is a Prediction Esports production. Support us by subscribing to the Prediction Esports Podcast channel on your favorite podcast provider. Hey guys, welcome back to the Little Legends Podcast, episode number 17. I am your host, Blevins. Joining me as always is Boop. What's up, buddy?
How's it going?
It is going well. Just got done eating at one of my favorite burger restaurants.
Yeah, also the name of my college dorm, Five Guys.
And if you want to know why we think that's so funny, show up to the pre-show or game nights, Fridays, 8 Eastern, Discord.me/Little Legends Podcast. Had to get it in there.
If you want to be inside of the inside joke, the only way to do it is to participate in Fight Nights, friends.
Yes.
Not Fight Nights. I will get that right one day, but...
Yes, you will get that right. But speaking of Fight Night is actually starting in about a half an hour from the live recording of this. So if you are listening live, you should definitely check that out right after the show, because we're going to be going pretty quickly through this as we are coming up on the Thanksgiving holiday here in the U.S., and we will be we had a decent amount of stuff, a lot of stuff here, but it's a lot of quick news bits, but it's real good. We don't need to necessarily, we do have one maybe philosophical discussion to have, but
it's really, really important that we talk about this.
Yes.
It might be more important than any discussion we've ever had on the show, so make sure to tune in.
You're definitely gonna want to listen to the end of the show. But before we get to that end of the show, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. Of course, guys, as you know, we are a Prediction Esports podcast, PREDICTION. Make sure you are searching for that on iTunes and Spotify, finding us there, hitting that sub button, leaving us a review. No new reviews this week, but wherever you're listening, a review is extremely helpful to us. As well as, you know what, let's throw the YouTube out there. I don't think we have the super sweet custom URL yet, but that's because we need some more subs on YouTube. Show the YouTube family some love. Just search for Little Legends Podcast on YouTube. I'm hoping it'll show up. If it doesn't, then I don't know what to do. Maybe you can find it somewhere. I hope you can find it. Save us, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're our only hope. But give us a sub on YouTube. That'll help. Now, we don't technically have a new patron this week, but we did have a existing patron. That's Dr. Pepper, up their Patreon level to a whopping $25, which is just insane.
Tripled our income.
Just absolutely insane. Dr. Pepper is our first boss. He is in the boss chat. Surprised everyone, including Boop, was like, what in the world is boss chat? Also, I love it. Super secret boss chat that only the bosses can be in. Definitely check out those patron levels. You don't need to be as generous as Dr. Pepper. We do have lower levels if you want to show some support, and just jump on the patron train. We love our patrons. Patreon.com/LegendsPodcast. Got some good stuff coming up in the future there for them. But I think that is our housekeeping. Let's move on and talk about what we did this week in TFT. Boop, anything fun? I know you said you're on a little bit of a roll this week.
Yeah, man. I flew through Iron and Bronze.
Nice.
During my grind. I played really hard over the weekend. And I think in 8 games I didn't get below 4th. For a time.
Nice.
Yeah. Most of them were 3rd and 2nds. I won 2 in a row again, and so
Wow.
I got up to silver, like mid-tier silver 4 by the end of that grind. And I've also kind of liked like climbing up the ladder again, right? I forgot like how much fun that was the first time.
It is
around.
fun to actually see some progression instead of back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah,
and back
exactly. And like I'm noticing that I definitely prefer Predator comps over other ones, whatever version I want to run of it. It's just super consistent, at least for top 4 for me. right now. But yeah, I've been crushing it over the week. Recently, I've been kind of like half-heartedly playing the games. I've noticed a little bit of a dip in play. I got a couple sixth places over the last couple days.
Yep.
Still in
I'll do
silver
it.
4 though, so just still grinding it up. Been doing some other stuff recently, but after any time after this podcast or any time right before fight, I'm going to call it the wrong name again.
Game
Before
night.
our game night
I'll come up
is
with a stylized name at some point, but I
yeah,
figured
yeah,
it just
yeah,
kind of describes exactly what it is.
anytime a game night, I like to try to like make sure that my rank isn't laughable when everyone sees me in the lobby. But yeah, I think silver's a good place to be right now for how many games that I've played. So
Yeah. I
yeah.
have I've actually kind of doubled down on TFT. I kind of thought like I may have proclamated last that's is that a word? Am I offended? Last week about sort of the dip in, having ranked be gone for so long and whatnot. I've actually like come back and am just like didn't miss a beat. Like, I mean, my play has missed a beat because I'm very rusty. At least, I'm still learning set two. But I've been having a ton of fun playing. I feel like I want to play games even more. The game still feels fresh. For set two, we're getting, and we'll talk about this later in the show, we're getting new champs very soon. So like I'm in like such a great place, and I've been hearing nothing but good. The only negative thing I've heard at all about set two was that it is different from set one, and I have to learn a new set. That's the only thing. No one's been like, oh, well, people have complained about very specific things, like brand was too strong, blah, blah, blah. But, like, in terms of, like, the game itself and not one specific aspect, it's just been wildly positive. And my interest in the game has actually, I think, it's almost like it I tend to, because the way my personality is, I tend to go really hard into something and then it like falls off precipitously, right? And then like
Mhm.
sometimes after that drop, I'll come back or whatever. But sometimes I'm just like, it's done. Like once it goes to a certain point, it's done. I didn't think that, I was pretty positive that wasn't going to happen considering where we are right now on this podcast about TFT. But I actually like, it didn't really, it like was up and then it like kind of dipped down a little bit at the end of set one just because of the nature of set one, and then it like leveled off, and it leveled off for a while because of rank not being up and all the things I talked about last week. And then when set two came back, it's actually starting to like, it's like going up like at a slower rate, but like a more, it's like a more solid thing, right? It's not like
Mhm.
a big jump up and down, which I'm really, this is all my own psychology, right? So it's like whatever, but like I'm really excited about that because I was like, I really don't want it to be like, oh, a new thing comes out, it's really great, and then it's like gets boring. I'm like, whatever, and then new thing, and then I don't want to be like yo-yo. I want like, I'm like very excited about the things that are happening in the game. The gameplay itself is fun. I enjoy and I'm going out of my way to play the game. There's tournaments and stuff that we'll be talking about soon. Everything's on the up and up and a nice gentle slope up for me with TFT. Very
Yeah,
happy
no,
about it.
I totally see it. It almost feels like every time you flip the pillow, it's cold on the other side.
It's just
You know
nice
what
and
I mean?
cool.
It's just
Yeah.
you get to put your head down and go, ah, or like on a Noxema commercial where they throw the water on their face, right? That's what you feel every game of TFT. No, I think two things have really contributed to that. Number one, the elemental maps. I think the elemental maps
Mm-hmm.
have like really freshened things up. And two, I just think the game like feels better. I think the
Mm-hmm.
extension of the hexes is like the other big thing. It's like you
Mm-hmm.
have more room to play with since the hexes on the elementals are random. Like sometimes, because of positioning, is it the best idea to use both hexes,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
People are starting to ask those questions, and like there are just so many more levels, right? We went from
Mm-hmm.
like a two-layer Betty Crocker cake mix cake to
Mm-hmm.
like a professional 10 tiered wedding cake.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not quite 10 tier just yet. Maybe because then we still need some time to go. There
Mm-hmm.
should never be a peak, but it definitely feels better. And I've said it for 4 podcasts in a row. It just feels more complete, and I think
Right.
that's why every game is more satisfying.
Yeah. I can't speak to it enough. Like set two feels super good. The game feels like it's in a good spot. We're getting all sorts of both Riot produced and some community stuff coming up. It's just like everything's on the up and up for TFT right now, and it just makes me really happy to be where we are with the podcast and growing and all that good stuff. So enough sappy stuff. You guys want to hear about the good, all the tournaments and whatnot, and the news that's come up in the week. Of course, as I mentioned before, Fight Night is happening very, very soon in our real live podcast time. But if you're listening to this later, make sure to check out at Heroes Hearth TFT on Twitter or their YouTube channel. I'm sure they're going to get the VOD up soon. This is one, and I have a funny story about that's tangentially related to the Heroes Hearth Fight Night specifically for this week. So, as many of you know, the last 2 weeks, Raditz has actually won the event, right? And the way that Fight Night works is if you win 2 in a row, you can claim the bounty. And if you claim the bounty, you essentially give up your spot in the next Fight Night, but you get to claim the bounty, which is a cash prize essentially. Raditz claimed the prize. This is the first time he's claimed the bounty, so he's out this week. So I thought, oh man, Raditz isn't playing in the Fight Night tournament. Let me try to get him on the show and talk about set 2. That'd be great. So I DM him on Twitter, and I go, hey Raditz, I saw you took the bounty. Do you want to come on the show? And he goes, hey. I'm paraphrasing here. Hey, would like to come on the show, but I'm really grinding hard right now to get rank 1. I'm going to be playing all day. And I'm like, that is just champion caliber. Like, I'm like, get it, man. Just, like,
cool. Yeah, it's like one of those things where so when I was a music major, there's nothing worse than seeing that video of some 10-year-old kid playing the exact same thing I'm playing.
Yeah.
Like, way better. And then at that point, you're just like, you know what? Good for you. Good for you. This is you're gonna do great. You've got the grind. Like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So, man, he got the bounty though. That's a big deal.
Yeah, 2 in a row.
Yeah.
You say you can't do that, but I could do it, and I want Raditz. I want Raditz. No, I'm kidding. I would never. I would get destroyed. I want him in the ring.
You can pull like a Brandon, just challenge everybody.
Yeah, you know what? I challenge Raditz to a 1v1 heads up TFT match.
It would be cool to maybe do like 4 TFT personalities versus 4 TFT streamers and do like a combined like point system or something.
I think it should be pro player, challenger player plus a streamer / personality on a team to see, like, it's like the pros and the schmucks combined, not the pros versus the schmucks, because I feel like
the pros versus the Joes.
The pros versus the Joes, yes. I want to see that. We should do that. A new tournament is born. Speaking of new tournaments being born, long story short, check out Fight Night. But speaking of new tournaments being born, we have the Fandom Legends State Farm tournament that was announced literally today. This is a Riot and State Farm sponsored event put on by Fandom Legends. They're doing a 4-week-long tournament series featuring TFT beginning December 1st. So this Sunday is the first week of this. And I believe they are going to be putting out more details. They said more details soon. Yeah, more details tomorrow. So we don't have all the details on it, but the first one is going to be December 1st at 2 p.m. Eastern. So right after, if you're in America, after your Thanksgiving and Black Friday shenaniganry on Sunday, Sunday afternoon, we're going to be getting some Fandom Legends. I'm going to have to put it on. I'm going to have to stream it on my phone and play the audio in my car on my drive back to Buffalo. But we don't know a lot of the details, but we're going to be getting it. But there are going to be 16 competitors fighting for 2K every week and a chance to appear in the grand finals worth 5K. So a little bit of a mini series here.
Yeah. I mean, anything is good, right? We got Omega Esports that was doing stuff. I'm wondering what like the casting / like broadcasting part of this is going to be. If
I'm
it's even
also
going to be
wondering.
streamed per, like, kind of like Omega Esports, like you have to
Right.
watch the specific players. I wonder if it's going to go through
Right.
that, or have everything kind of come into one spot like we
Mhm.
did for Bear Cruise. Um,
Right.
but I mean, still $5,000. Any prize pool is good. 5K is a good prize pool,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm excited to see who participates, because it seems like we're getting the same kind of like cycle of players, and like some storylines are starting to come in, and
Mm-hmm.
like rivalries are starting to be formed. You
Yes,
know, it's
Keen
one of the
versus
most
everybody.
that's one of the most important parts of a caster, to be like, well, I hear this, and this, and just kind of see
Mm-hmm.
what happens.
Yeah.
Right? See if you can get those storylines to interact, because that's the thing about TFTs, since it's 1v1v1v1v1v1v1v1,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can talk a little trash. I'm okay
Yeah.
with it. You can tactical crouch on Kiki.
You definitely can. Yeah, this is very interesting. I mean, it's put on. I thought I read somewhere that this was through. Maybe it was in the press release, or the press release, the report of the press release from Esports Observer. I thought it said it was actually through Riot, or sponsored through Riot, or something through Riot. I'm not sure, but it is sponsored by State Farm, so big name sponsor for the event as well. So really good to see. Fandom Legends is kind of an up and comer in terms of tournament series. I know they do Magic the Gathering events that are pretty big in the community right now. Glad to see that they're doing TFT, and we're getting a big prize pool and a good sponsor for it. So very excited.
Contact us if you need some voices to talk over, please.
Absolutely.
A little bit of self promotion never hurt no one.
Yes, that is true. May or may not have already reached out to them. You can guess which of those two is the case. You reminded me actually that the Omega Esports League sort of offline series has concluded, and a very familiar name, Faye, actually ended up winning that. So after so many weeks, yes, we had a lot of people in our Discord that were playing, and I know Sphinx was. I think Raditz was.
Was the professor in there?
I'm not sure if Professor played in OEL or not. I know Jinx JK, who we've seen on Fight Nights as well, was in that too. So a lot of familiar faces in that tournament, and Faye ended up taking it down. So really, congrats to her. And
a classic Faye.
Yes, the queen of Fight Night extends her reign across to other lands of play as well.
Another land has fallen under her.
Yes. Long may she reign.
Bend the knee.
Bend the knee. Another tournament series actually cropped up this week. And this one's a little bit interesting. So it's like almost like a mini Twitch Rivals series for EU countries. So Monday, they did just the UK and Ireland, I believe. It was 8 players. I don't remember the exact format of it. I did catch a little bit of it live. They did like a mini Twitch Rivals with maybe it was a 1K or something. Today, I didn't catch any of this, but they did another mini tournament they had an Italian, Spanish, and German speaking stream. So I think they had casters in all 3 of the languages that were represented in the event.
That's
and as
awesome.
far as I know, there's going to be another one. There's going to be other ones of these the rest of this week. I'm not exactly sure. And that's kind of what was almost a little bit interesting to me about this, was that this was not really advertised or promoted in the same way that the other Twitch Rivals events have been. Because I just happened to see someone randomly retweet the Twitch Esports Twitter that had the details for this, and I'm like, oh, this is going on right now. Let me watch this. It's like it wasn't tweeted out. And here's a little insight into me and my insanity. I see literally every single tweet from the official at TFT Twitter, and every single tweet from Mortdog. I just have those go to my phone. Yeah, I know. That's how I stay on top of a lot of these things. So when neither of those accounts are tweeting about this, not to throw shade on anyone, that's not what I'm trying to do. It's just it was weird that like there was no promotion from that side, like even a retweet I would see. So I just happened to see someone tweeting about it because they found it. So cool that it's happening. A little bit interesting. I mean, they don't want to promote everything, right? I mean, maybe they should, but it was a really cool event. It was, I think, kind of to what you brought up a while ago, Boop. This was not, for some reference, and maybe this is just me not knowing a lot of EU streamers. I didn't know any of the people that were in the UK Ireland uh, uh, Twitch Rivals event yesterday. So like they're promoting some people that are maybe not the top echelon of streamers and giving them, a chance to play competitively and get in the spotlight and expose TFT to more people.
Yeah, that's I hope so. There needs to be a little bit. It can't be like all or nothing though. You know what I mean? You
Right.
kind of do needed like an anchor to bring in the viewers to get.
I mean, for what it's worth, there might be like it had a decent amount of viewers, and it was also like.
Well, Twitch Rivals might be the anchor, right? It could just be the production.
Right. It could be. It was also, I mean, it was 4 European times. So like it was late, or it was like evening European time, but it was actually like noon my time. So it was like in the middle of the day. I'm just a degenerate and watching it on a second screen while I'm at work. So I saw it, but probably a lot of people in the U.S. didn't. But, it's for Europe and whatnot. So.
Yeah, what I want to talk about real quick,
yes,
before we move on, is this idea of a TriCast. I'd love for our viewers to kind of and our listeners to kind of give me some opinions on it, because TriCasting has worked occasionally in the esports world. So if you're new to casting, or if you don't know what a TriCast is, it's when 3 people are casting. So like I would say 8 times out of 10 in every game, it's 2 people casting. At least from what I've seen through my own observing. But we TriCasted a game with Kenobi of TFT, and it particularly felt really good. And just having like that third voice kind of made it feel like it was moving along a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right. It felt a little bit more conversational, and honestly felt a little bit more relaxed. And I think that's exactly what they're going for on this. So it's something that I hope like Fight Nights explores one day, or if we ever do a tournament, we should try the TriCast, because we've only done it the one time and it felt great. The one time that we did it. So I'd be curious to hear what some other people in the community think of that, because it's kind of out of left field. It happens in League of Legends occasionally for like really, really big games. But outside of that, I'm not really familiar with it. They tried it with Overwatch a while ago. That just was not going to happen.
Yeah, that would be tough. That would be a tough sell for Overwatch for sure.
Yeah, but there's so much like dead space, and like the crazy thing is about TFT is all of that space happens at the same time, right? As like, and there's no everything is timed, so there can be a nice little tempo to it. I don't know. Maybe this is only interesting to me, but I think it's really cool. I think that they tried it, and it's cool that they're doing it. But if it takes off, it's because of me. I came up with it.
Yeah, they did. They did definitely do like the solid TriCast. Like it was very much. They had the host, who again I don't remember who they were, and then there was the 2 analysts. One of them was Lothar, who I remember from Hearthstone. As well as other card games. So Lothar was one, and then they had Lothar and the other guy were the analysts, is what they called them, and then they had the host, who was kind of the play-by-play, and then also like doing the raps for commercial breaks and whatnot. So it had a really good flow to it, and they're obviously professionals, so unlike me who's stumbling over everything, like they had a good flow to it. But it felt really good, and I definitely want to explore the TriCast as well. So good on. I'm glad there's more Twitch Rivals events. I'm glad that they're pushing to EU, even though it's not. These tournaments aren't for me. They're not for obviously they're being broadcast in Italian. That's not for me as a viewer, but not. Only most things need to be for me. I don't need everything. I'm not that greedy. I just want most of everything. Not everything, though. So really, really good series. And last thing I want to talk about before the break is the G2 making the squad sort of I don't even really know exactly what this is. I mean, I did apply for this, by the way, and I'm very salty that I didn't get in. I'm kidding. Well, I'm half kidding. Uh, the G2 making the squad is basically the esports org G2 is doing like a contest slash show thing at their offices in Germany. They flew out basically, what is it, 2, 4, 7 people, and they're doing like a competition to see who the next person on G2 is going to be. I think they're filming it almost like a reality show. I don't know what the finished product is going to be, but it's for TFT, so it's really cool. I've got the link in the show notes if you want to check out the personalities that are in it, but they're in Berlin right now, and I was just following them on social media, and they're like posting videos and stuff, and it's really cool that like an esports org is doing something like this. It's kind of interesting, the sort of reality show feel to it, contest / reality show, and then also that they're doing it for TFT. It's also awesome.
Yeah, no, and I remember Hi-Rez did this where they like did a reality show to find a caster. There was like some other ones. There was hey.
I will never forgive them for what they did to Realm Royale. They are dead to me always, and I will never support anything they do ever again.
Wow.
But if you're looking for a cat, no, I'm kidding. I'm serious. I'm nope.
No, so like this has been done before,
like
and I'm glad
res.
because it can be done pretty. Like you would need production, you would need everyone at the same place, but it's like a cool investment to just have internet content for 6 weeks, right? That's so hard to do in general, right? But to have consistent internet content that they're also making content within the content,
right?
It's contentception.
Yep.
Hashtag almost 2020. And I think it's good. It's just good to have all that stuff online. People can see, compete, and any exposure is good exposure, right? The only bad press is no press.
True. The only thing that they could actually have done that would make it better is if they picked me and Kamer the Gamer to be on the show. Just saying. But hashtag robbed. Hashtag next year. But yeah, no, really cool event. I'm not sure if it's going to be like a finished product where they're going to release episodes or if it's going to be like a live stream thing or whatever, but we'll keep you updated as long as they keep us updated. But that's going to be it for the first part of the show. We're going to jump into a break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about the brand hotfix and the brand new champs. Ooh.
And that important discussion.
And the very, very important discussion that's coming up. But we'll talk about that right after this quick break. Guys, if you are liking the show, please make sure you leave a review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to us there. And you can subscribe to us and check us live on Twitch at twitch.tv/theblevins. Of course, the home of all of our content is at discord.me/littlelegendspodcast. Welcome back, everyone, from the lovely break. We're going to talk about the hotfix real quick for Brand. For those of you who are unaware, Brand got changed in a hot manner, and not just because he is Inferno. His mana was changed from 085 to 090. Spell damage decreased from 350, 450, 600 to 250, 325, 400, and spell bounces were changed from 567 actually up to from 5620 to 5720. Okay. And then this is all from Mort Dog, and he puts a little note here that says this means with 4 Ocean he needs an extra auto attack to cast, and his total damage output is down around 17% and more spread out, which is less valuable damage. So, long story short, Brand was really strong when this patch first came out. People complained. Mort did what he does, looked at the numbers, and decided this was actually worth a hotfix. So, I mean, good on him, good on the team, and from my perspective, it seems like Brand is still a strong unit, but has not been oppressive for me. What about you, Boop? You've been doing this grind. How much was Brand present for you?
Pretty oppressive, especially since Ocean Mage got hyper popular all of a sudden. Especially not all of a sudden.
Ocean Mage.
It was like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago that I like really saw it starting to pop up. Especially since like people were like getting Viger 3 so quickly. At least in my lobbies. But I think in the end, I think it was good. The biggest change there, I think it might actually be that 50 damage at level 1, because for each drop, that's a total of 200. What is it on the one? I'm blanking all of a sudden. Little Legends, brand hotfix. I just want to make sure that I have the right information. Yeah, so like there's five bounces, and it's 50 less damage on each of those bounces. So that is 250 less damage overall, which is a lot of damage. Plus, he's taking that extra auto attack, so that's another like full like second. His auto attack is not snappy, friends.
Right.
So it's like a full kind of like cycle of another auto attack plus 250 less damage, which is, like he said, about 17%. But I think it definitely evened it up. Brand doesn't feel as oppressive anymore. He actually might have gone maybe a little on the lower side than they had anticipated, but I'm okay with that. We had Brand.
Yeah.
We had a good Brand in set 1. We don't need the same Brand to be good in set 2.
Well,
right? But he was hard to balance back then.
I feel like he's not, he doesn't seem broken anymore, but he also still seems quite good. Like, I still see him a lot. He's still going to be in Ocean Mages. Like, he's not, I mean, he's still like Ocean Mage. It's like now almost like the Annie is the scarier thing. Like the Tibbers is what's really killing me a lot of the times. Not just from the damage, but just like soaks, that stupid bear just soaks up so much damage.
It's another tank on the field.
It's another tank, and then like sometimes you'll take so long, you'll kill it eventually, and then you'll go through the rest of the team, and then there's another Tibbers, and don't even get me started on Mage Annie. I don't think she's broken. I just think that she's in a very good spot, and Brand obviously enables the, fits in that Inferno Summoner Mage comp, which is so good right now, or Ocean Mage Summoner. It's just very strong, and I think that this hotfix was very good. I obviously can't see the same stats that Mort and the team do for if it needed to be hotfixed, but I think that this really, at least from my perception, brought Brand from like S tier down to like A minus, maybe just a solid like B plus. Where he's still like, you're still running him. There's no question you're still running him in that comp. It's not like, oh, I'm in Berserkers and I see a Brand, better jump ship and play this Brand. It's not there, but it is like, if you're in it at all, like he's definitely good.
Yeah, I think they made the right choice. He was feeling pretty good. I still have yet to see rank 3 Brand. I've never seen the 20 bounces. Someone did find a rank 3 Zed in our Discord, which is nuts to me. How you're able to get 9 Zeds just in general. I can't even find one. So good on you.
I had a game. I forgot to tell this story at the top of the show. I had a game where I was Berserkers and I had 8 Olafs, and I was at like, I don't know, 17 health. Yeah. And I was rolling down, and at the last second, or actually technically right after the last second, I found the 9th Olaf, and it combined, and I just had 2 level 2 Olafs on the bench, and then I lost. I ended up getting 4th.
Oh, no.
I didn't get to see the level. I didn't get to actually experience the level 3 Olaf. I was so sad. I was so sad about that. But
APM not hiding.
No, I've got Boomer APM.
Boomer APM.
I have Boomer APM. It's sad. It's sad to see it happen. But I did still get 4th, so I wasn't that upset.
That's not bad.
But the thing is like I'm still like lower than my MMR is. So like, even if I lose, I don't really care that much right now, because I'm gaining way more when I win than I lose when I lose. So it's like, I don't care if I lose or win. I just want to see the cool thing. I want to do the cool thing. I didn't get to do it, so maybe next time. But let's talk about the fun stuff.
This is the meat and
Yeah,
potatoes right here.
meat and taters here. We got new stuff for TFT. Boop, you wanna talk to us about this stuff?
Yeah, man, we got a new class, my friend. So we're gonna have three new champions entering the Rift here in TFT. But first, let's talk about Soulbound. So Senna and Lucian also enter Teamfight Tactics together, bound beyond life and death. As Soulbound, these two damage-dealing carries fight past their own mortal limits as long as the other is still alive. Here's how they work. Soulbound. The first Soulbound unit to die in a round will instead enter the Spirit Realm, becoming untargetable and continuing to fight as long as another Soulbound unit is alive.
Interesting.
So, I was theory crafting when I read this. I was theory crafting this the other day because this is where it's been like my dream of mine to find a meta. Not a dream might be a little facetious, but I've always wondered if two stacked tier 2 units, like say like you have two veins that are both tier 2 but have 6 items total on them, would be better than one tier 3 unit with 3 items, right? And so this is something where I think you can really start experimenting with that.
Oh yeah.
And having like multiple Sennas and Lucians, because then they all will live through it, right? So would 2 Lucians be better than one tier 3? I don't know, because Senna's probably going to be the last one that dies. So I wonder, that just kind of adds like a whole new dimension to the game to me. But let's talk about Senna and Lucian a little bit more, Blev, before we get
so Senna is a 2-cost Shadow Soulbound. And her ability is Piercing Darkness. Senna fires a beam through her furthest ally. Now, this is a little bit confusing. I was confused the first time I read it. So, Senna fires a beam through her furthest ally, dealing 50, 100, 150 magic damage to enemies, and buffing allies on hits for 5 seconds to deal 25, 45, 65 magic damage from Senna. So basically, you're targeting your furthest ally and shooting a beam over to your furthest ally, and then it's either damaging enemies that it's touching or it's empowering allies to do on-hit magic damage. It's either dealing a magic damage to enemies or giving allies on-hit magic damage.
This would be particularly good on Berserkers. Because I at first you think assassin because furthest ally, right? And then you kind of think rangers, but then you're like, wait a second, because your berserker is going to be able to sit there and potentially get a couple fires from this thing and keep it going. But the next thing is really why Lucian is in the game, because lore wise we have to talk about this. The reason why Senna and Lucian are coming in together, and the reason why they're soulbound, is because in lore, Lucian lost Senna because Thresh took her, and just recently Senna escaped Thresh's lantern and is now back, but her eyes are green, so we don't know what's going on, if this is the true Senna. But Lucian and Senna are boos. They're together, and that's why they're soulbound.
Very interesting. You learn something new every day on Little Legends Podcast. The note here for Senna is Senna's a backline unit that focuses on buffing allies as well as dealing damage. Her ability, Piercing Darkness, infuses any friendly in the beam with bonus on-hit magic damage applied from Senna, allowing her Shadow trait to benefit from many more takedowns in combat. So, since she's Shadow, the magic damage is technically coming from her. So if a Mundo kills someone with her magic damage, it triggers her shadow damage, or her shadow proc. So that is an interesting little interaction there. But Boop, tell us about Lucian.
All right, for those of you who missed Lucian, we have another carry for lights. So he's going to be 4 cost this time around. He's going to be Origin Light class soulbound. Ability is the culling. Lucian fires at 4 times his normal attacks per second in a direction for 4 seconds, each attacking for 20, 30, 50% of his AD, applying on-hit effects and dealing 30, 40, 50 magic damage. Lucian is the new carry for the light trait and is especially adept at single-target DPS. His ability Culling synergizes very well with damage modifiers like Pierce and Darkness and applies on-hit effects. So he's still going to be good with Ludens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is. I don't know if it'll trigger on every auto attack. Oh, that's interesting. There's going to be
won't. It'll only trigger every whatever the internal cooldown for it is.
That's right.
4 seconds or whatever.
I don't Lucian fires 4 times his normal attacks per second. So if he's got a rage, if he's got Shiv and Rage Blade on it too. So so the attack speed stacks on top of each other. The 4 times is not his base; it's whatever his current attack speed is.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see triple Rage Blade Lucian on some type of a funny video one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be sick. But you're right, Shiv would be very good.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to pair well with Senna. Other than Senna might not pair particularly well with Light. I mean, but she is Shadow, and with Kindred that would work. But
or you make her a light. You make her a light, or you go 6 light. Yeah, I guess if you're level 8, you go 6 light Senna plus X. I guess like Senna plus Kindred is probably the biggest one because then you're getting Ranger and kind of that light comp usually runs a Kindred anyway. Although you might not actually need, because then you're like, you've got Vayne and you've got Kindred and you've got Lucian for carry, so you probably don't even need all that. I mean, adding the extra just base light character does open up the possibilities of where you can go, which is nice.
My only question about these two is, what if Senna is the last character on the field? Would she be able to ult if there are no allies?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
Mort.
Mort.
Yeah, Mort, come here.
Yeah, we need to know.
We gotta summon him like Beetlejuice.
I mean, we could probably try to tweet at him and maybe he'd respond. He probably would respond, but I'm not going to do that right now while we're live. We'll get an answer to that eventually, I'm sure. But yeah, I think like what you were mentioning before, Boop, is like this is going to be really interesting because if you have Lucian Senna, you can just run like level 2 Lucian, level 2 Senna, and then like 2 more Lucians and 2 more Sennas, and like how good is that comp? I don't know. It seems like it could be pretty good. Do the Senna beams stack? I'm not sure. I'd be interested.
There's going to be tons of theory crafting. That's the best part about the PTR.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the interesting thing is like this is, as far as I can tell, like if you have, I mean, you can have, 3 Inferno and then run 2 additional of the same unit, and they still get the Inferno bonus, right? But it's not like really stacking up. It's not like you're not really getting that much more advantage from it. Whereas this Soulbound seems like the first ability where it's like you're actively getting better by having multiples of the same unit out.
I have had actually, so there was a time where the only time I've ever actually experimented with this myself was in a Predator comp with kog'maw, where
Yes.
I had like I put a bunch of Ludens on one kog'maw and Ionic Sparks on the other. Originally, it was just to kind of see which item build was better.
Sure.
For the comp, but then I realized I was doing the whole multiple things, and it worked. I probably would have done Ludens and Ionic, one of each on both if I were to do it again. But I mean, I saw it with Predator, definitely more so than some of the other ones because it's an automatic kill.
Right.
You get that bonus anyway, and it's kog'maw and it's range. I definitely saw it working out. I ended up finding that level 3 kog'maw anyway, and I wasn't paying enough attention to figure out exactly how good it was. But I think that would be a very interesting, just next level in the game. Another kind of strategy that we haven't figured out yet because we're so focused on getting those tier 3 units, right? What if the idea is to like just hoard all of the Lucians and Sennas, right? And have like a tier 3 Senna and a tier 2 Senna doing stuff. I don't know.
Whew, well, it would be really hard to do that because once you get the tier 3, you stop seeing tier 2s or you stop seeing tier 1s in the shop unless you like get the 9th one and the 10th one in the same pack, and then you can buy the 10th one. But I'm not sure if they keep showing up if you have the. I don't know how the logic works. Another thing that we can maybe get a confirmation on at some point, but. Even in the predator situation, it is like you are getting an additional benefit in that more of your team has predator, like a bigger percentage of your team has predator, but it's still not like if you have all soulbound units in on your comp, like your comp is actually markedly different. I guess it is for Predator too, but it's like your team actually doesn't die until they kill the last person. And like that in theory, right, until they kill the last one, then they all die, obviously.
Strikes me as a really good early game composition.
Yeah, I guess it's really going to depend on like how strong are Lucian and Senna just in and of themselves. Like, is Lucian actually just really good so that having him on the field for an extra is having him on the field for an extra, like, I don't know, 5 seconds, like, really good? And then, like, it compounds, right? Because, like, it's not that he's just alive for that much longer. He's also dealing extra damage, which is going to make the last unit survive longer than it normally would if he wasn't there. So,
I could definitely see, like, 2 1-cost Lucians with, like, a tier 2 Senna working pretty well, or even, like, 2 tier 2 Sennas and 1 4-cost Lucian, because she's technically acting as kind of like an item. If the beam passes through that Lucian, he's getting that extra on-hit damage, but he's also getting 4 times his normal attacks per second, and so it all kind of stacks on top of each other. And you're more likely to get a second ultimate off because you're soulbound. It might not end up being anything, but I want people to explore. I definitely will myself. But before we get too far ahead, and it's funny because even they kind of forgot about him. Oh, and we almost forgot about Amumu. And so this is really funny. So are you familiar with the Sad Party Amumu lore?
No, go on.
So the SparkNotes version of it is Amumu is like the Meg from Family Guy of League of Legends. And so basically he's always crying and he's always really, really sad. And so like the idea is he's never invited to parties. Because Surprise Party Amumu, his splash art is he's actually like in the background. or something, and like there's Prom King Amumu, and basically the whole idea is that he's always lonely and sad, and so and we almost forgot about Amumu, kind of like a dig at his lore because everyone forgets about Amumu. Cost 5 Origin Inferno. That's interesting to me. Class Warden, ability Curse of the Sad Mummy. Amumu's rage explodes, dealing 250, 500, 1,337 magic damage to
Why would they
enemies.
choose that number, Boop?
I don't know.
What a weird and random. What a weird and oddly specific
very
number.
Specific. Yeah. Magic damage to enemies within 2, 3, 4 hexes and stunning them for 1.5 seconds. It's actually not that long.
No.
But I think the big thing there is the Inferno buff. Inferno at the 6-piece level has been a bit underwhelming. Specifically, it lacks the utility to compete with other all-in compositions, like, for example, I get paid to use my voice. Enter Amumu. He's here to be the tanky frontline for all your Inferno needs, which they definitely needed. He roots enemies in Inferno hexes and is generally an adorably cute but often lonely force of raw destruction. They're changing Shadow too, right? Because they're adding.
Yeah, they are changing Shadow, though they're not listed in these notes. So I believe it's going from a 2-4 stack to a 3-6, and they're changing the numbers, but I don't think we have concrete numbers on that yet. So we'll talk about that when we get those. But
Let's talk about Inferno for a second. They absolutely needed a tank, and an AoE ult's going to cause it to trigger. Because Inferno is one of those comps that kind of like fell off near the end, much like Gunslingers did in set 1. But this might be a little different.
It's just an afterthought a lot of the times. It's like you have Annie and Brand and usually Lyra And is that her name?
No, Zyra.
Zyra. I tried so hard.
So Lyra was the name of a child that I used to be a teacher for preschool.
Oh, that's who I was
And
mistaking her for.
no, this is actually really funny. So Lyra was enormous, not in like a fat way. She was really, really tall, and I always felt bad because like when I would like pick up a kid and throw him up in the air, right? I needed to do it for every kid that wanted to,
Right.
And then Lyra came up one day and was like, "Can you throw me?" And I was like, "I don't know if I can." So I tried. And this was like 6 years ago, and I still have back problems because of Lyra. I pinched a nerve and threw my back out, but I got her up in the air. She got to have as much fun as everyone else. But good old Lyra, that poor girl. She was a giant. She was already like 4'3" at like 5 years old.
Wow.
And like 60, 65 pounds. She could have been a linebacker, man.
Maybe
but
she
anyway,
is.
that's
Who
Lyra.
knows?
She's not she's not Inferno. She'd definitely be light. Get it?
Because she's not.
Yeah.
That's the joke. Yeah, no, I think a frontline is definitely something that Inferno was missing. It was very much an afterthought. Before I completely forgot the name.
Tibbers
Zyra.
was
Tibbers,
was
yeah.
the front line.
Tibbers was the front line, and it's like, yeah, but that doesn't really count because you need a different front line to get you to Tibbers, right? You're not automatically summoning Tibbers. Good God, that would be scary if you were doing that. But it's really just like, it's good. It's not like it's a bad synergy, but it's not like you're going out of your way to be like, oh, I really want to make sure I get Inferno 6. It's like, yeah, but then I had to run junk, or I need to spend my items to make something Inferno, and I want nothing to do with that. So this is I think he's going to be a solid unit. Doesn't seem like he's super crazy. I guess it really kind of depends on how easy he gets his ult, right? We don't know his mana cost for the ult. I'm guessing it's going to be at least 100 mana, if not like 120. To get this off, because it's just going to be such a big AoE, like an AoE stun. I mean, we're talking set 1 stuff here, right? With Sejuani and Cho'Gath. So they've really kind of shied away from the big AoE stuns, and this is trying to think that there's not really another AoE stun like that in set 2 right now that I can think of. I guess Malphite, kind of.
Yeah, Malphite.
Another short stun.
Someone just got a 6-second stun. Who was that in that last patch?
Was it? Right, what's her name? What's her name? 1-cost mage mountain.
Oh, Talia.
It might have been her, or maybe it wasn't. She's got a pretty big stun, but it's not AoE. It's just 1.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. I think you're right. Yeah.
Someone actually was bringing it up in the Discord that was like, set 2 feels good because there's not a bunch of AoE stuns that completely take you out of the game. And I'm like,
Leona, Sejuani, right?
Well, yeah. Leona was just like, one person is basically Zephyr'd for the whole game, and they take damage on the front end. Sejuani was like, your whole team just stops. Cho'Gath was, they get stunned for a good amount of time. They're taking a big amount of damage. It's just like, yeah. It was just like about 3-ish seconds into the fight, like some gigantic thing happened, and you either needed to stop it or do yours first, or you just lose the fight. Whereas these are, it's like a little bit of back and forth, and this and this and this, and it feels a lot better. I guess Nami also kind of has a AoE stun, but even that feels different because it's like
quick though.
It's quick, right? And it's like, well, you're getting stunned, and then by the time the last person's getting stunned, the first people are kind of out of the stun. So yeah, it does feel more fair. I mean, all in all, they did a really good job with those different stuns. So
yeah, there's just like less stupid things in the game for me, like completely honest, right?
Yeah.
I think like the last thing for me is I have a very big issue with items like Ionic Spark and Static Shiv, where it's just kind of like exist for damage. Right. Less so Static Shiv because that's like an attack speed modifier, but Ionic Spark specifically, it's like, oh, you got to do something you have to do every game. Here's some damage.
Right.
I mean, there's a reason why it's been nerfed 3 or 4 times in a row, right? It's not interactive in any way. I mean, it used to work on your bench. Remember that?
Right. Yeah.
And so imagine if you could do that on a Predator nowadays. But yeah, they fixed a lot of that stuff.
Oh, that would be insanely stupid. You just have a kog'maw on the bench with it on. Just
exactly. And just
wow, that would be dumb.
But yeah, it's actually super funny because Certainly T, I think, designed a lot of these items, and I don't know if you know Certainly T,
nope.
But he has notorious. He did one really great rework on Warwick. But has also contributed to some of the most like toxic and most hard to balance champions in the game.
Okay.
For example, Yasuo is one of his champions. Really Zyra, Zoe, people like that are just like so overtuned, right? And his new champion Aphelios is in the game, and he originally wanted him to have like 25 weapons and have the moon change how strong he is in real time. Like this is the type of guy.
I saw that.
Yeah. So that's the guy who did a lot of the TFT items I saw, which explains why we have Ionic Spark.
He sounds a lot like me. Like he's a Spike. He's a Spike type of player. I like it. Spike with a little bit of Johnny. For those of you who are familiar with the different types of Magic players.
I appreciate what kind of thinking he's doing, because like in order to innovate, that type of thought process needs to be there. Right. But sometimes you gotta put a top line level on it, right? Because like Aphelios' passive is literally like 7 pages. But
I saw
like,
that.
Yeah. Where Cassiopeia is, she doesn't have boots, and when she lands an ability, she gains attack speed. Right. That used to be how you did League of Legends characters, right? But I would like it to be toned down just a little bit. I like the innovation, I like the idea of it, but it just kind of like eliminates other characters from the game because they don't have that kind of stuff.
Right. No, it's power creep. It's power creep, right?
Yeah, exactly. So,
but I kind of want to learn this character now. He might be selling me on actual League, where it's like, oh, it's got all this stuff, which means that all of my time spent into it is going to pay off. I think I might be sold on this new character. I've got some RP laying around.
The aesthetic looks sick, and
I did see the video.
Like 50 bullets per weapon, and so like I like that. I'm an AD carry player myself, so that's cool. But the biggest thing is there are just some no, not yet, but soon. There are just some things in the game that I don't think should be, like Zoe as a character. I have issues with, right? Some of the items I have issues with, but even in TFT, they're able to, I think, rein them in and get them to, I think the biggest thing in TFT was that you could stack items. That was like the hardest thing for me to like get my head around, is that you can have multiple Rage Blades or multiple Ludens, and it seems to be a little multiple, of anything. That
back in my
day,
back in my day, my build for Ezreal was 6 Bloodthirsters, and it worked.
And I just don't want power creep to happen in TFT, but I think certainly T is left. Riot and Aphelios was his last champion, but that man, creative. He was a creative force, but I think he needed to get the reins put on, and I think there needs to be some like reins on Ionic Spark specifically. I'm okay with them just deleting that weapon or deleting that item. I don't see why it needs to be in the game other than for Predators.
I think instead, like, imagine every time someone casts a spell, there's a 50% chance for a Teemo mushroom to spawn on the map. Like, that would just be a cooler way to do essentially the same thing.
Exactly. Like, it could be called Scout's Code.
Yeah.
And do the same thing. I don't know, but
Riot hire us, by the way, for game design.
please. But that's kind of it for me in terms of like design, and Soulbound seems to be exciting. Amumu is going to be really cool. He's just going to be a solid unit in general. He's a warden, so he's going to be some units just have like a warden on there, right? Like say you have a Malphite on your team, just go ahead and put in your Amumu, like because you need to hold space, or because you're trying to get that extra, warden 4 did just get buffed, so we'll see what it does. But I'm happy to see someone like Amumu, who's like a League of Legends staple in the game, right? It's like seeing Lux and seeing Annie all in there. These are League of Legends characters. Same thing with Ezreal. So Amumu's just another one of them. And I'm happy. I'm happy to see it. I'm a little scared for Soulbound. I think it might be a little strong, but like I said, we shall see.
I think Soulbound is definitely going to be tough to balance because I think it is one or the other. It is either very strong in that, wow, you just play every Soulbound unit no matter what the level or whatever, or it's like kind of weak where it's like, okay, well, even when I have it, it just feels kind of mediocre or medium. But I trust the team. They've been very good at making things feel relevant, even when I don't think that they are. It seems like every week there's a new thing that comes up, and all that. But all right, we've teased it enough, Boop. What is your philosophical debate question that we want to talk about here in our opinion pieces section?
So I was on the, I was on the throne, the Iron Throne, and something just came to me one day. And I was like, this question, I don't know, has a plausible, easy answer, right? This question is one that needs to be posed to the greater people at large so we could crowdsource a potential answer. And Thanksgiving, it's something that I think needs to be talked about.
It's very relevant.
I'm sorry if this offends anybody. Not really.
I'm not sorry at all, by the way.
But the question I have is, amongst all of the little legends, which one would taste the best? Blevins, what would be like your tastiest little legend? Okay, because I've got like a top 3. I've like legitimately thought about this, and if you were at our game night last week, you got to hear me talk about the morals of whether a happy cow or a sad cow would taste better.
Yep. And you got to hear my calling all of you idiots
for
no, you're the sheeple.
You're the sheeple.
Buying into the marketing ploy of happy animals tasting better.
I feel like they would. So I would say happiest little
legend. Just means the marketing is working on you.
Or maybe it doesn't matter because I perceive it as tasting better. That's why I think the Silver Wing is going to taste better than the Fury Horn, okay? The Silver Wing is way happier than the Fury Horn, even though the Fury Horn might be providing a little bit more meat.
Well, you didn't say which would provide the best meal. You just said which would taste better.
Which one would taste the best?
You just might have to slaughter more little legends to get a full meal. God. No, I think the one that brought up the happier animals tasting better was the Fua, which is my answer, just snap answer, because it's the little pig, and bacon, ribs, pulled pork, ham. Do I need to go on? Like, obviously that thing's gonna taste delicious.
But he's so sad.
Right,
and
then
his meat will not taste happy.
So what you're saying is that you want to have a happy little legend that is living its life to the fullest and just so overjoyed, and you want to kill and eat that one versus the one that just is begging for a grave.
Okay, just because you're begging for a grave doesn't mean you should do it, okay?
True.
One, the Fua, I don't know. Okay, maybe I could get down on some like fried Fua ears or something like that. Right, like kind of like a pork rind situation. But I don't know about the Fua. Like, if we're gonna go with the Star Guardian one, I think the Dango is probably the one that would taste the best out of that
true.
series.
I want to eat it like an apple. I want to eat it like an apple.
And it probably has like a really fatty meat, right? Kind of like Kobe beef because of all the fat it's eating.
Well,
and it's happy.
So the thing, because I was thinking the same thing about. God, we're gonna spend the majority of the episode talking about this. We're gonna lose all of our subscribers. I was thinking about the Pengu one, right? Because bird, chicken, etc. It's a penguin. I don't know what penguin tastes like. They eat fish, so maybe it'd probably be a little seafoody for my taste. But the problem with an animal like that is that because they're so fatty and blubbery, you're not getting a lot of good meat on them. You're getting a lot of like really sort of greasy dark meat, which can be good. Like duck is kind of like that. And then duck is
if
quite
you're
good.
Into like the gamey taste, right?
Right. So I think you can make a really good. I think the what is the Dango? The Dango could be interesting. That's actually a wild card for me.
Yeah, Dango Unchained for sure.
Dango
Um,
unseasoned is not what I want, but if you can put some, you fry that bad boy up. Ooh, what if you just dunk him in like a hush puppy? Oh, God.
there's a really funny episode of American Dad where Francine gets a fryer and just fries everything like a
Yeah.
pen and like a baby bird and like all these other things.
And a
It just kind
Dango.
of reminds me of and a Dango. Okay. Here's my kind of
Yeah,
out of nowhere.
wrap this one up, Boop, because I feel
Okay.
like people are either gagging or calling for us to be canceled.
So I think if you're into it, some cultures do eat turtles. I think the paddle bar might be out of left field.
I would definitely try some turtle soup.
And I don't know, man. I don't like eating things like with like tough scales. But fish, I don't know. I like fish anyway. Or if you're into it, I'm thinking that I still think the silver wing would be the tastiest little legend out of
I
all
think
of
that's
these.
the safest choice. Besides
It is the
Fua.
safest choice.
Besides the Fua.
If I were to rank my top 3, I'd go silver wing. Then I'd probably go Fury Horn next because I feel like it'd be like buffalo. Like buffalo burgers are really good.
Oh, so good. Buffalo and bison are just so good.
Have you ever had antelope?
No.
I had a store that had like antelope meat. It was like $10 for not that much, but man, it was tasty.
Never had
and that kind of
antelope,
like,
but like,
and that kind
deer
of reminds me of the
whatnot.
Fury Horn. And then the third one would probably be the Dango. Now that I'm really thinking about it, sneaking into the top 3.
The Dango, I don't want to do 1, 2, and 3. I want to do the safe pick is your silver wing.
Yep.
Tastes like chicken.
Yep.
I would also put the Fua in that category of safe pick because you're getting your bacon or your what have you. I'm the paddle mar I think is actually the paddle mar is an out there but could be really tasty. I've never had turtle before, but I do kind of want it. I'm intrigued by. I don't know if I've ever even eaten reptile at all before. I've
had alligator at like a state fair once, and it wasn't bad.
I've never had it. I'm intrigued, and then I think I'm agreeing with the Dango is the mystery pick, and I'm honestly I'm just really interested. I wonder if there might be some info in this League of Legends Realms of Runeterra official cookbook. Oh, let's take a look and see. I want an official canonized answer for what each of these little legends taste like, and we will review it, Riot, just in case you're listening.
Okay, we won't be eating any poros. They're protected species. In Runeterra, Braum would not like it.
I would definitely eat a poro, by the way.
A Dango, would a Dango be more like a hush puppy, or would it be more like a dessert, like a mochi?
Well, I mean, a hush puppy isn't meat, so it's like
That's true.
It's basically like fried bread.
It's cornbread, isn't it? Because some hush puppies can be gluten free.
That's true. Yeah, it's like cornbread. Oh, we just got raided by Battling Boredom. Thank you. You guys are making it into the live show, and you're coming in at the weirdest possible time because we are doing
everyone. Yeah,
for
Thanksgiving
now. Our Thanksgiving talk here.
Okay, so I'm posing the question, and we're gonna end here. Chat: which little legend tastes the best? Which little legend do you think would be the best to eat at Thanksgiving? Whether it be a dessert or like a turkey centerpiece. Right now, the Dango is kind of living on the edge of acceptable here, but I could see it happening, especially since it eats a lot of food. The silver wing is definitely the easiest choice. But what's that third choice? For me, it's that Fury Horn.
I think
for
you sold me on the
who's it
buffalo.
going to be?
You sold me on the buffalo taste because I love buffalo, and like venison, which is deer, is quite popular in my area because there's rural areas where a lot of hunting is going on. So very tasty options indeed.
What the heck? Yeah. It was a light news week, guys. It was a light news week, so we had to add some holiday cheer.
Yes, we added some holiday cheer by talking about murdering and eating little legends. But that's gonna be it for this episode of Little Legends Podcast. Thank you for everyone who's watched the live show and is now unsubscribing as we speak. It was a good run. If you guys did like this wacky topic, let us know, because we will certainly
we could do like a wacky
them.
topic. We could do a wacky topic like this every week, technically, right? Just like do something stupid, like which little legend tastes the best. That's a really good bar. So you guys tell us.
Yeah, let us know what you like, what you don't like, and let us know what you want us to talk about too, because patch note days, as you guys know, very full, so maybe we'll do it on off weeks or whatever, but certainly something that we can do in the mix. But that's going to be it, guys. Thanks everyone for listening and subscribing and all of that. Again, guys, make sure you're checking us out on Prediction. That's 2 E's on iTunes and Spotify. We are Little Legends Podcast. Little Legends Patreon.com/Little Legends Podcast. Join the Discord, discord.me/Little Legends Podcast. We're at LIL Legends Pod on Twitter. Boop, where can people find you on the internet?
At Booposaurus Rex, and maybe in an insane asylum after this TFT.
It's true. PETA is going to.
PETA is not going to be a fan.
PETA
any
not going to be a
fan.
The
chat?
Yeah, is PETA any vegans in the chat anymore? PETA is going to. It wouldn't be PETA. It'd be People for the Ethical Treatment of Online Animals. So it'd be PETOA. Yeah, PETOA will be all over us. But you can find me on the internet at _Blevins and all of the crazy stuff that I do. The best place is definitely discord.me/Little Legends Podcast. We're keeping the discussion up. Game nights on Fridays. We'll be talking about TFT all the time, especially during the holidays. Hope everyone has a good holiday. For those of you in the States celebrating Thanksgiving with us, have a good one, have a safe one, and we'll see you guys next week. Little Legends Podcast. Bye-bye. Want to round out the end of the show for those of you listening at the very end here to give a huge shout outs to our $10 patrons, Angry Frog, Undead the Gamer, and the brandly new minted boss, Dr. Pepper.